You know, every day you wake up in a different place. Tides are different, weather conditions are different.
Yeah.
You know, I logged 18 trips on different boats, but to do the entire Great Loop 18 times just on different seats.
The loop.
The loop.
18 times.
18 times.
Holy cow.
It's, you know, there were times when I would do it 3 times in a year.
This season, on Cruising Still the One, I'm docking my boat at my house in Cape Coral, Florida, the winter home base for Still the One. My plan this season is to cruise South Florida, including the Florida Keys, the east coast of Florida, and the Bahamas. Come along in my journey and enjoy the beautiful scenery, interesting people, and places along the way. You and I can learn something new through my experiences of a motor cruiser on Cruising Still the One. So, like I said, what I wanted to do is just take a little bit about, talk about the fact that you're ex-military, a little bit about what you did, if you're okay with discussing that, and then what led you to Rob's and your role there and your role as a captain, because there's a lot of people out there that are, you know, really looking for information. Yeah. So you spent how many years in the military?
So I did 1 year active, and then I went to a civilian contractor position.
And active, where were you deployed?
I was on a medium endurance cutter.
A what?
A medium endurance cutter.
Okay.
Cutter.
And what do they do?
High risk patrol.
As in, and
Drug interdictions.
were you doing? Did you?
Yeah, I was a machinist mate.
Okay.
So we made the boats run.
Right. So you spent a year on a ship. In what seas?
The Caribbean and the
In the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
So obviously you drove it to the Mediterranean.
Actually, they loaded us on the back of a submergible ship.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What?
So this ship lowers itself underwater, and
No way. You're lying.
no, I'm serious. I'm serious. Look it
You're
up.
pulling my leg.
No, look it up. They put a 378, two 270s, and a whole handful of 110s on the back of a submergible ship, and they towed us across the Atlantic.
They tow you.
We were literally on dry dock. We could get out and work on the bottom side of the boat. We were out of the water.
Oh, so you were on another ship?
Yes.
A ship on a ship.
Yeah, the ship drops down in the water,
Yeah.
and they drive all the boats on.
Yeah.
Divers are in the water. They line up, and then they pick you up just as you're going into a dry dock.
Amazing.
And they slowly do that till they get all the ships just where they want them, and then they weld these big iron bars down, and they literally weld you to the ship.
And
floor.
how many boats can they put on this boat? It's just big boat.
So this boat that carried us was 1,200 feet long,
Okay.
and they, of course, the front portion doesn't go underwater because that's where your captain and the pilot house and all are located.
Okay.
Just the back portion has the ability to submerge.
Okay.
So it kind of submerges in a angle,
Okay.
and as they bring stuff up, they slowly bring up until everything's loaded on the way they want it.
Okay.
And then they spend a day of welding. You don't move until everything's welded solid to the deck.
So you can't use straps.
No straps. No straps.
So you got towed to the Mediterranean after y'all hit a bunch of Caribbean islands and had fun.
Yes, on the government's cruise ship. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we're never training, and you were never cleaning during that time, and you were never maintaining. Never.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just always remember, nobody saves the Coast Guard but the Coast Guard.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only people to leave dock in bad weather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So you got over the Mediterranean, you started to assist other boats. You were patrolling.
Our initial involvement was we were en route to go down to the Iraq area.
I know there's some things you probably can't talk about, and so don't worry about skipping over
Yeah,
those.
the desert area, we'll
Yes,
say.
yes, yes.
And we were canceled due to an engine failure on our ship. And
You got canceled.
yes,
The military has a cancel culture, huh?
they have a cancel policy.
Yeah. You lose an engine. How many engines they have?
So we have two mains,
Okay.
16 cylinders apiece.
So they were tired of y'all going in circles,
So we were driving on one engine for a while.
not going in circles.
We had to go get parts. We were refused in a couple of ports.
Really? Because of maneuverability with only one engine, or what?
No, because of what was going on at the time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of countries that don't like us, believe it or not.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But then they call us when they need us.
Right.
Right.
So you got done with your tour and you left that area of the world, and then you made your way back as a contractor then?
So I actually flew home.
Yeah.
The ship stayed until they were able to return it, at which time I was then took a civilian contract position.
Yeah.
And I did that for 5 years after I left.
And what part of the country were you in as a contractor?
The world.
All over. And all on boats?
And imports.
Okay. And all working on different boats, mechanically speaking?
No.
No. Other jobs?
Yes. So I went through a background clearance when I went into the Coast Guard, and
Okay.
when my security clearance was enacted, I was removed from active duty
Right.
and put into a contract position where I traveled.
So you're delivering yachts?
Yep. Based on
So you got your, what, how many ton do you have?
so it was 500 ton unlimited.
And you got that in the military?
I did. Yes, I did.
As a-
I had my captain's license before I went in the Coast Guard, but I upgraded it while I was in the Coast
Okay.
Guard. I didn't run boats in the Coast Guard,
Right.
but I did upgrade.
Sure.
And it was easy to upgrade.
Sure.
Lots of things are easy when you're in the military.
Oh, yeah.
So if anybody cares to know, if you want to get a FFL, the time to do it is while you're active duty.
Okay. You heard that, didn't you?
You
What
work
is
for the
an
government.
FFL?
A federal firearms license.
What?
Federal firearms license?
Oh, okay. So not just your regular firearms
No,
license.
you can buy, sell, trade. You can upgrade to fully automatic weapons. There's all kinds of classifications that you can get in the
Right.
federal firearms
So you
license.
could open a firearms store if you wanted to.
Yes.
Cool. So you were taking boats captaining boats all over the world at this point.
Correct.
Give me an example of one of your trips to another country.
Tampa to Hobart, Australia.
Okay. How long did that take?
33 days.
Okay. And how many crewmen or captains or whatever did you have?
So there was another captain that had done the trip before that I took with me. So it was myself, so we could run split shifts, and 2 crew members. So we had 4 people total on the boat.
And how big was the boat?
56 Oyster.
Oh, not a very big boat, really.
No,
Oyster, what is that? Is that a
sailboat.
sailboat? Oh, sailboat.
Mm-hmm.
So you sail most away, or and what was that like? 14 days across the ocean, or
Of nothing.
huh?
Of nothing.
Yeah. So how many
Not a-
days was it
not a
off? When you did the crossing?
Oh, let's see. It's been a long time since I did that trip. The guy called me actually about 3 years later, and he was coming back. He was a contractor. He
Okay.
was on a contract job over there,
Right.
and he was ready to come back. And I said, "Well, you're going to have to find a new captain because I'm done. I'm turning in the tides. I'm not." I got to the point where I didn't want to leave the United States because what you go through in other countries in their customs and interrogation. I mean, migration. I mean, yeah, those things.
Absolutely.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible how they treat you. Even if I would pick up a boat in Miami, I would call the Miami sector Coast Guard and have them send a dog unit out to search a vessel before I picked it up.
Oh, that's smart.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because you don't know what
You don't
somebody's
know.
done,
You don't know.
and you'll get the blame.
Absolutely. I mean, you're covered. You do have insurance for that. I won't
So
say.
you're in another country and they find drugs. You've got insurance for that?
So,
Come on.
so yes, Lloyd's of London will cover you. I didn't say that out loud. Anywhere in the world. And you're bonded. So
Okay.
they have a guarantee of money. and that's all these other countries want.
Okay, that is so interesting.
Is
that like common knowledge?
No.
Oh.
And it gets more interesting. A lot of people know, like, Mexico is that way. If you go to Mexico and they come up with some thing that they want to charge you, whether you had anything or not on your boat, the whole idea is they want the boat or they want the money.
Wow.
Well, if the boat's documented, it's a U.S. territory anywhere in the world. So the U.S. government's going to do what it can to get it back. They're going to get you back as long as you really didn't do anything wrong.
Right. So you spent how many years as a captain?
So I did 15 years after getting out of the Coast Guard.
15 years. That's a lot of traveling all over the world and country.
So I logged...
Name the countries you've been to.
Yeah, there was Australia. Australia was a lot. There was several trips to Australia.
Okay.
That's just a common place for Americans to want to go. It's a hard place for American to stay, but it's a place for American to go and work as a contractor.
Okay.
You have to have a sponsor. It's a little different than coming here.
Right.
They have to have a sponsor. You have to have a certain amount of money to actually go there, even to work.
Okay.
You have to have a proven bank account that they can verify.
Okay.
Just to enter the country as a visa holder.
Right.
To work.
To work.
Okay. Yeah.
Not as a visitor.
Not as a visitor. Visitor's different.
Yeah.
But you're only limited as a visitor as how many days you can be there.
Right. True.
Their government's a little different.
Sure.
Everywhere you go, the governments are a little different.
Yeah. If you're looking at cruisers and you watch what they go through in every country that they get into, you'll understand what Scott's talking about. Some of the processes are, they're nice about it, but you can tell the way they strive. Well, I went to this office, they sent me to that office, they sent me to that office.
And then I had to lock myself in a hotel room for 12 hours before I could go over to this office.
Yeah, all this stuff, and it's like, well, it took a day and a half, but we got it. So 15 years of being a boat captain, and then what happened?
COVID.
Okay.
COVID. My busiest year was 2020.
Okay.
I was home 45 days out of the entire year. It literally was to come home and know that I still had a house in Largo. I was in Largo at the time, just out of Clearwater.
Right.
And it got old. It got old very fast.
Yeah. And when did you come to Cape Coral?
So we came to Cape Coral just before COVID started. So, and it was a quick move because I was busy. I had several yacht brokers that were calling me full time. I raised my rates. They called me more. I guess that means they're better when you raise your rates. But I was learning, and I was meeting a lot of youngsters that were getting into the yacht delivery service without the proper license, without the experience. I even had one that come and tried to mate for me, and I fired him. He had no clue what he was doing.
Is that the best way to become a yacht captain?
Experience.
Is to go mate?
Experience.
Yeah.
You need experience. These big boats, it's not like getting on your 21-foot bay boat.
Right.
And single engine, and you can back up and you can save yourself from slamming into the dock.
Right.
These boats, when you shift gears, it's wait for it.
Right.
You only come in as fast as you want to hit something. That's my rule.
Yeah.
And I used to have people at field docks, and they would scream at me, throw me a line, pull over here, calm down.
Yeah.
I just did 36 hours offshore by myself.
Yeah.
I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
The wind's blowing. I'm feeling out the currents. I'm feeling out the tides. I'm in a different place.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up in a different place. Tides are different. Weather conditions are different.
Yeah.
I logged 18 trips on different boats, but to do the entire Great Loop 18 times, just on different seats.
The loop.
18
times.
18 times.
Holy cow.
It's there were times when I would do it 3 times in a year.
Yeah.
Because I've got boats going up. I've got boats, Miami to to New York or New York to Miami was a very common run for me.
Right.
But then up the Hudson and across the Erie, most of those boats were going to Chicago or up to Alexandria Bay.
Right.
So I was right in that spot. So
Yeah.
I started logging with Nebo, and Nebo recorded. I ended up checking Nebo and figuring out how many times I actually made a complete circle. Up until 2020, my record was 3 boats, 3 different boats to make the Great Loop.
Wow.
In 2020, I did it 2 because I had a boat here in Cape Coral that had to go to Chicago,
Right.
in which I had picked up a motor cruiser in Chicago and brought back down, and it literally went to Marco.
Wow.
So I literally made the Great Loop
Yes.
in 2 boats,
Cool. Cool. And all by yourself.
all by myself. Most of the trips were by myself.
And how big, what's your average boat that these trips are taking?
I kind of had a rule: anything over 80 feet I had to have a crew member.
Right.
But the 76 footer I did across Lake Okeechobee
Right.
was by myself.
Okay.
That wasn't fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I could do I think I might could do 50 foot by myself, maybe. I'm at 40 now and I do it all the time. I feel real comfortable with it.
But locks are a different character.
I did 16 locks.
Oh, so you come down to Tennessee?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Tennessee to Tom Bigby to the
Black Warrior.
actually to Mobile Bay.
Right, that's Black Warrior River.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I did that and that was 16 lots. 16
Okay.
lots total.
So I did 2 skits on the Mississippi River.
Now I would
On a
never do
tugboat.
the Mississippi on a tugboat. Now maybe in a tugboat I would, but nothing else.
No, you would.
Yeah, because it's horrible looking. Was it like 6-8 miles an hour?
It's against the current at that time was about 4 with big logs.
Yeah, and you just don't know what's coming through that.
You don't.
Nothing. You just don't know what's coming through
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
You know, and you're running 5,000 horsepower,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you're just pushing against a wall of water that's trying to kill you.
Yes, absolutely. So you made your way to Cape Coral,
Made way to Cape Coral.
and where did you land once you came to Cape Coral? Right at Rob's?
So no, I didn't. I found a crab boat
Okay.
and jumped on a crab boat.